What's going on? Alexander Thomas here. Welcome back to Sports Hour. This is the NBL Draft, Round 1. We have every team in the NBL Draft is on a live. No one took over a team, so they're still going to be available. This won't be available for the actual draft itself. Take a look at the draft plans. Every team has got a certain amount of players, and the picks are as follows. Draft order is right here. Chargers will have the number 1 pick, and it'll be interesting to see what they're going to go for. I'm also going to get the roster up. I'll put these things up later, not currently. It's not currently available for you guys to see, but I will put it up after it's over, after I finish the round 1 over. It's a lot here. I have to know what it is. Take a look at the rosters, and there is going to be no clock. The draft will officially start at 10 o'clock. To rephrase that, there is a clock. Let's see here. But it's not a live clock, so you guys won't be able to see it. First, we can take a look at the actual roster and teams' playoff records. Chargers themselves are down here. 42, 70, and 2 with 100 and they've made the playoffs 4 times. There's 2 teams that have not ever made the playoffs. The Packers, and then the Westville has not made the playoffs either. They were called the Huskies before, and I believe there's another team here. The Bears have not made it either. Cardinals did make it back out in 2018. So they made it in that year. It's going to be interesting to see how they do for each of these, because the first pick in the NBL draft is going to be a lot. We've been talking basically before Draft Sports Hour here about what they're going to actually pick. And looking at the Chargers to start off, Chargers do have a slightly younger team. Their most experienced player currently is Grace Kama. And Grace Kama is a 5-year player. Used to play for the Panthers and also played for the Colts. But we're expecting that she's not going to go. They're probably going to go for a forward. It'll be interesting to see what happens for that. It's going to be interesting to see what we go for here. They're going to go for here because there is a lot of good players out there. It's also the player draft, which is available for you guys once I've got it. It's basically just shows all the players that are going to be possibly entering the draft into next year. And there are 500 players currently on there. I believe they were putting up, I think it's near 400. Is that correct? 300 something players. And it's gonna be interesting. We're looking at probably one of these top 10 players, which is where we have Diana Destiny could expect her to go for number 1. Cara Jamero could go number 1. There's quite a few players that's could go potentially just number 1. Felix could go number 1. Beatrice, Imra, all those players could potentially just go number 1. There's also Alexandria could also go number 1. There's a lot of things, but the one thing to note is that there is a couple things to note about this year's draft. First of all, the Panthers. Panthers do not have a pick today. Don't want to pick next. Don't want to pick this round or the next round. Their first pick is 114, which is round 3. Do you have a clock? Okay, so there is a clock. It appears. They haven't got up yet because we're starting in a few minutes. Clock is set for 10 minutes. They have 10 minutes to pick, and hopefully they don't take that long. We kind of don't want much. 10 minutes, right? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And you guys will not see a timer. I don't believe. We want to show this. We show the timer. So we're going to see if we can get. Yeah, it's not going to be shown. But will have 5 minutes. At the time where the draft starts. Make sure it's correct, right? Oh, we are going to show it. It's going to take a second for me to get that then. It's not going to be one we had last year because that was too difficult. Cancel that. And this is only going for round. This is for every round is 5 minutes. Later rounds are going to have slightly more time. Here, and it's in 5 minutes until the draft actually starts as of right now, so it will be at 10 p.m. when the draft starts. Hope have all the players come online. So all the players all the current owners, the acting owners for them are online. We'll get their picks as well. We don't know who's going to go number 1. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of players that could potentially just go number 1. I honestly would say right now it's going to be difficult to actually say what they will actually go for. in round 1. I would say probably ended up going with someone like one of the forwards. Like I would expect someone like Esmo to go round 1 because she's predicted to be top 10. We also have, Bellatrix Richardson could go number 1. They really kind of need a forward, so we'll have to see what they go for in this end. Are the Chargers online? Chargers are online, okay. They're going to have a few minutes before. And we have 3 minutes. The clock will restart automatically off of the time stopping. They will have 5 minutes. And the NBL Draft is almost online here. It's almost time for the NBL Draft. The Chargers have number 1 pick. And there were a lot of skepticals about whether they should just go and say, hey, you know what? Let's go and trade the number 1 pick. But the Chargers have made adamant before that they do not want to trade the number 1 pick. So it's convenient. And honestly, the only thing that's going to be difficult for them is the fact that the NBL in the last couple seasons, there's only been one good player, one good team that actually had a good pick, which was the Cardinals. There was 2 other times it was the Panthers that had that. Panthers did not have a pick in the first round, so 2 minutes left before the actual draft starts. Chargers will have number 1 pick, and then it'll be on to the next team. And that is going to be the Cardinals will have number 2 pick. We're only doing round 1 tonight, so we'll see what they go for here. 47 seconds before the actual draft itself. Yeah, Cardinals will have the 2nd round pick. And the draft is now in session. Chargers have the number 1 pick. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll see what they go for here, as for the number 1 pick in the NBL draft. And I would expect they go for defensive back here, just to go for the ends. I got plenty of time to deal with else they're going to go for here, because you know that's going to be tough. And the Chargers have made their selection. Cardinals are now on the clock. In the first pick in the 2024 draft, the Chargers select NBL Jordan. No? Alright. Did not. Sorry, it's not NBL Jordan. It's the other NBL Journal. He is a 99 overall defensive back. Interesting pick for them to go for in this year's the draft this year. Cardinals have the next number 2 selection. They also have even a really young team. They got Sam Armstrong, the oldest player from all of them. He's only what, 21? He's 20 years old. So it's gonna be interesting here because Sam Armstrong has been in the league for a pretty decent amount of time. Lockwood's got the most salary based off of it. And the selection has been made. With the Cardinals, in the second round for the second pick. The second pick in the NBL Draft. Make sure I have it right. Gabriel Brindle, defensive back. 99 overall. Not actually predicted to go in the top 10. It's an interesting selection as the Giants go on the clock. It's very, very interesting first pick for them. Although she was predicted to do pretty well. Not necessarily go early, but very interesting pick for it. Honestly, I'm surprised there's a lot of players still. There's a lot of players, and I don't expect her to go early. It is the Falcons, by the way, that have the pick right now. They informed me wrong. I was misled here. The Falcons currently have the pick, and they're done now. So, it is the Giants of the next pick, and with the third pick, which is not surprising to me, to anyone at all. Diane Destiny gets selected as the number 3 pick with the Falcons. And the Giants are now on the clock. I believe we predicted that they would go with Milan in this round, because Milan is a really good player, averaging 36 points per game, which is because the are a little different in the NBL Junior League. It's not really it's called the Junior League. Basically, you get to play. I think there's 3 quarters or 3 ports to the game, and then you get to go for that 1 quarter, and you play that only for that one. And the Giants have made their selection. And not really surprising to anyone to us. They indeed did choose it, which is a predicted round 1, not necessarily early pick. And we go into the next person, which is going to be the Ethan. I'm honestly surprised there are still quite a few players that you would see and think they would go a whole lot earlier. I mean, we all predicted before when we did some of the videos. You guys didn't see us, we didn't actually upload those. Predicted or Alexandria Harold to go early on. But that's not gone yet. They're taking their time to do this pick. And with the 4th pick, the 5th pick, the Ethan have chosen Beltris respond. The Indians are now on the clock. Not all surprising, they definitely needed offensive players in the eighth end. We'll have a really good team going into this year for that. And it is over now, I believe. Alexander Harold has been selected for defensive back. And the Indians have made their selection. And it will be the Dogs that are now on the clock. And Dogs are a team that, going back to the Dogs, for the Dogs position here, what do the Dogs need? They got 4 minutes to figure this out, but Dogs over here are also a ridiculously young team. Doug Fisher, who is supposed to retire at the end of this season, Ford, means they probably badly need a new leader. And someone like Clara would probably be a good pick for them. Clara is a great leader going into the team, playing for the blue team. Because in the NBL Junior League, they don't have a. They have 16 teams, and they're all like colors. Yeah, they're all colors. So blue, green, white, black, gray, orange, yellow, pink, purple, turquoise, silver, gold, lime, I believe, is one. They have a navy. They got like all of them are colors. We don't get to see those because those are very private. And they look like they got the pick in. And they have chosen with their pick Brianne Natalie. Prepared to go in round 1, and so far most predictions have been correct for this one. We agree with that for this one. Next team is on the clock. It is the Dragons. I apologize for this year's that we don't have the full on the clock thing, but we didn't have enough time to get those put together. The Dragons have made their selection. They have selected Noah Emery. Which is also predicted to go in round 1. An excellent pick by them. Absolutely the right pick for them to go for this here. And the Lions are now on the clock. There were a lot of players we thought that Rin could go here. Rin expected to go around 1. But what the Lions badly need is a leader for their team, I believe. So they got a good team. They got a good balance around the teams. But even though they made the playoffs last season, which I believe they did the Lions make it last year? We'll find out in a second here. The Lions. No, they didn't know. They got crushed last year. They've actually made it off and on for the last couple of seasons. They made it in 2022. They probably need a leader, which is the one thing and I would say someone like Felix would be an absolute really good player. Or Rim would be a great addition to the team. But who knows what they're going for here. Got 40 minutes. I think one person they definitely should not go for would be Stefan. She's not a leader. She's just not a it's average. She does average a lot of points, 45 points per game. But she's not. Would be terrible for them to choose in the position. And I can tell you right now, if they pick her, I will be shocked because the Lions have given their pick. And they chose the one person they should not choose because she's not a leader. They chose Stefan, which will be in bold now. Why would they choose her? She's not a leader. She's not what they needed. Perhaps I think they can get someone better off in the next round. But they got a long way to go before that clock will restart now. As I can't believe it, they did that. Saints. And there's absolutely no chance that they don't go for one of the best players in the draft. Which is very obviously like Phoenix. Felix averaging 40 points per game, correct? 39 points per game. If the Saints don't choose that person as a Felix Jarrett, and that is exactly who they are choosing. They've chosen Felix. Absolutely the right decision for them to make. I'm actually surprised he actually survived that long. Because Felix is a great player. 39 points per game. One of the most least penalized players in the junior league. At the time. 100% it's a player that should have gone probably top 5, if not even, it's predicted to go top 10. Next team's on the clock. It is going to be the Bears. Bears weren't terrible last season. They were actually a decent team. But looking at the Bears' season numbers, Bears have only been around for, what, this is their second season? Yeah, they didn't qualify. They didn't do terrible. They just weren't in a position. So they have not made the playoffs. Bears are one of the 4 teams that have not made the playoffs. Bears haven't made it. The Kings haven't made it, although they've been, and they've been like half and half. The Packers have been around for quite a while. They have not had more than 35 wins. And Huskies, which is Westville, also have a decent record. I think honestly this is going to be interesting. I don't know who to say they go for here, because this is a tough one. For me, I would probably say they should have gone with Felix. Obviously, they don't have the option to go with Felix, because she went right before. But they have a very low team. They need all the help they can get, and point guard would be the best option, which I believe a good point guard would be an awesome addition to their team. So someone like Karen Baldrix would have been a great pick. Nat Gable would be great. Elizabeth Maribone would be a great pick. All those players are really good. And they have selected Norris. What was Norris at number 5? 97 overall, 99 based. A very good selection for them. I have to say that was a great pick for them. And Lightning are now on the clock. There's not much choices for the Lightning. Lightning need a lot of help. They need a ton of help. While they were a decent team last year, they had one major problem in the last 3 seasons, since they lost some of their best players when they made it in 2020 and lost the divisional round. They didn't make it all the way, but they have one very bad decision. They cannot keep their points high. So they're going to need a point scorer, which means someone like Elizabeth Merrill would be an awesomeness. And that seems to be who they are going with. Elizabeth, is that correct? Yes, they have chosen Elizabeth, an absolute great player, to their team. In their 5 minutes, I'm going to go and see if I can get these other players put onto the rosters while we're waiting for the next team to make the pick, which is the Werewolves. Werewolves have been good. They've been bad. Who knows what they're going to go for? Diane Destiny is She's a defensive back, rated 99. She's a rookie. And we do expect the Lightning to have some. We expect them to take a while because of the context. They have a lot of choices on their disposal, and it's gonna be interesting because for me, I would probably have gone with someone that has a really high rating. Someone goes to the Bears. $99 overall, 97 overall. They're gonna take pretty much the entire time, I'm gonna guess, because they have to make a lot of decisions off of this one, because this is an absolute killer to them if they don't pick the right person. Dragons. And just so you know that if it's one, that means they've had 1 year experience, or means that they're a rookie. I don't know who to say what they're going to go for, because there's a lot of good players out there. They're trying to take our time. I absolutely agree. They should take as much time as they can to figure out exactly to get the right player for it. Because there's a lot of players out there that are like predicted to go round 1. But the problem is there's a lot of players in it. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up going with someone like Mark Sesso. Not a great player off of context. It's not predicted to go in the top 10, but absolutely a great player off of the context for it. 40 seconds left. They're going to need to hurry. All right. They have made their selection. And it is... Oh, no. Auntie and Michael? Is that right? That's actually kind of surprising. Not someone would have expected to go early on in that round. Werewolves. Yeah, hello. Interesting pick for them. She's not a leader. She's not anything to actually score. She's averages 19 points a game. I don't think it's a good pick. They should have gone with someone for a defensive position. That's not a good pick. Maybe they were rushing. You think it's possible? Yeah, I think honestly, that was not the right decision. for them to make. They could have been rushing, but I don't think that was the right call. Yeah, she's 9'6". Yeah, she's a point guard, but they didn't need that much of an offense. They were losing Ian Thomas after this year, who's the current captain of the team. Maybe they were looking to get something better for a point guard off of this, because they are losing 2 players. They're losing Max Rushing as well at the end of the season. But I don't think that was the right decision for them to make. Speaking of which, who is next on it? The Colts are now on the clock. My apologies for that. They've been on the clock for about 2.5 minutes, but they're going to take a while too, because they need to make sure they know exactly what their season is. This is not relevant. You can ignore this. I'm just going to go and hide it. Hold on. Not relevant. They have made their selection. I don't know how to say this one. Oh, I don't have a clue how to say her last name. Crisbella? Not a bad pick for them. At least they have an easier name to spell than hers. I got no idea how to pronounce that name. And the next team on the clock is the Dolphins. Couldn't tell you what they're going to go for either. There are a lot of players out there that Dolphins could really use. Colts have a very interesting thing, because they got a weak amount of positions. They're losing all these players at the end of this next season, but they're gonna have to cut 2 players, because the roster limit size is in fact 25. So they're gonna be 20. Is it 24? I don't think is it 24. Or is it 26? Is it 26? It's 26. So they're gonna have to start. The problem is there's 4 rounds. They're gonna have to cut at least 1 player. And for me, I would say they're gonna get rid of one of the weakest players. Maybe even get rid of one of the players that is supposed to retire anyways. Which I think might be a mistake for them. Maybe Julie Patterson. Taking their time, aren't they? Yeah, I know. We got her. And honestly, it's really surprising that, Claire hasn't gone yet, because Claire is 100% one of the top 10 players. Surprisingly, she hasn't even gone to the top 1. Kind of reminds me of Aaron Rodgers, who went into what, 22? He went in 23. So I'm wondering when that's going to happen. And 30 seconds for them to make their pick. Oh, they're still on the clock here. And the pick is Nat Gravelord. Selected by the Dolphins. The next team on the list is the Angels, who have an interesting logo. Probably that net didn't go earlier because she is a good player. But the thing is, honestly, I don't know why they selected her. Oh, it's not the Angel, is why. The Dolphins that got her. Not the player I would have said they should have gone for either, though, because they aren't. Well, that probably is their weakest position for forward. Elizabeth. I mean, it's not. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter, but usually see who the Angels go for, because my prediction would be they go for Clara Graham. She's still. I mean, Clara is still available. She was predicted to go really early on. And Clara, defensive back, absolutely really good player. I don't know what anyone would be missing. Why she's taking so long to go drafted. And then she's still going to be available. Lex has been selected. Lex X. she was actually predicted to go to round 2. The Angels selected her in round 1. I'm actually surprised that she went that late. The next team on the clock is the Browns, which is a dog. I would bet these go a little bit longer here than that. That was actually a shocker because Lex, she was predicted to go round 2, like early round 2. She did not go round 2. Ford 95. I don't know what to say here because, someone's got to take Clara. She's most certainly going to be one of the best players in next year's draft. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets Rookie of the Year. Which we don't actually do much with, but, she's only won 52 points per game. 52 points per game, which is ridiculous. Why no one selected her? It's just shocking to me. Someone's got to choose her eventually. Maybe the Browns will select her. Claire, it's definitely going to be a shocker for someone. I mean, to see who she gets. Panthers are going to have, aren't going. It would be shocking to me if the Panthers actually got her because think of it this way: they have to wait 113 picks before they can get her. So these has got to go before that. You'd have to. There's no way she gets to that point. Unless no one thinks she's any good. Like, everyone thinks that she's a bust. Which is possible, I guess. I mean, but even in the league, though, they did test and all that, and these ratings are not that easy to come in. They have to take a look at every play they do for the draft class. And the Browns select with the 17th pick Raina Fox, point guard, 96 overall. I can't. I don't even know what to say. Brown, she's actually a really good player too, but there's some players that are just, you know, a whole lot better than that. The next team on the clock is the Beagles, which have a pretty cute design. I mean, I don't know. Claire's got to go like next. Like, should have gone like this pick, probably. What do you guys think? You think she's gonna get to 20? Oh, we got to take 3 picks to get to that. So we see who we got. The Beagles right now. The Huskies are next. Jets are after that. You think she's going to the Jets? Thought she'd go around pick 4. Like, I don't even know. We all suspected that some of these players were going to go early. But we did not. No, we did not expect her to not be picked in the first, 10 picks. And you guys can't hear them, but they're here. I have them on headphones. Like 2 minutes. And the Beagles are choosing Mark Sasso. Pretty reasonable pick. Is going to be the Huskies now on the clock, and the Huskies are a not new team. What they changed their name to Westville, from Westville to the Huskies. They're called the West Carolina Huskies. That's not a real unreal pick, but it's a shock to me. How on earth Claire has 9? Did everyone think Claire is going to be a bust? Because at this point, Claire should have been picked by now. And you said 21. That was after you, because that was after the picks they were out. So good grief. Ooh. I got a text message, I think. No, okay. You never know who they're going to go for. The Huskies. It's kind of weird though, because in the history of the NBL, no team has done well in the year following their name change. Lightning was the closest, and that was 2 years. Looking back at the playoff records, Lightning changed their name. Actually, they were 10. They were 10-8. That was the Lightning were the best team in that regard when they actually entered the league. They have not changed their name, but like the Westville, so predictions are that they are not going to do well this year. They're good apparently about making their selection. It, however, is not. It is Miller. There, pretty good pick for them, but again, not her. And it will be the Jets that are now on the clock. '93 overall rookie. Could turn that team around still, but it's still interesting. By the way, for anyone who's wondering why these are blank, they are going to go into that before the season starts, which I believe is the deadline is January 30th. January 30th, yeah. And it appears the Jets did not take long they have chosen one of the other Sylvian Rega, who was predicted to go in round 1 as well. It's a very good pick for them. And the Kings are now on the clock. I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know when she's gonna go now, because she should have gone by now. I mean, for Clara Clara was one of the best players that they produced in the draft. And actually, we thought that she was going to go round one, like she was going to go pick one. The only thing, she wasn't actually the right player for them. You know, look at Claire right here. Right. Where is she? Claire. She's in his back, so actually she was probably not the right pick, but she easily should have gone round 2. I pick round 1 or 2 or 3. How she hasn't gone yet is pretty shocking to me. Because everyone's looking at some mistakes, and possibly people are looking at mistakes that we don't see, because I don't really watch those things. But I thought she would easily go round 1. So it was a little shocking because, you know, as the oh, I know what it is. I switched the names. So that what happens if they run out of time, which, you know, they have 40 seconds left, run out of time, and then their pick gets skipped. They lose that pick until into the round. So they better hurry. And they have given their pick is Harriet. Harriet. I'm not going to try to pronounce that last name. 9 overall goes to the Kings. I can't even tell you how to pronounce her last name. She is a point guard played for the Gray team, 99 overall. Absolute, could be an absolute really good team now when they needed some help on the offensive side from last year. So let's see who the Kings go for. That was the Kings. Packers are on the clock right now. And she still has not gone. You think Packers should really need to get her? As they absent. And another group you'll hear say that they should very much likely go early here. I should have gone this pick. Which would be 22, so actually it's a little bit later. And no, it's not going to be her. It is Claire Daggerhill that has been chosen here. All's particular round 1, so probably not a bad situation. It was the Packers, by the way. I don't think I get the right symbol. Yes, the Packers have the take right there. There's the Packers symbol. And we're moving on to the next. Pick. And they do choose that. It is going to be the Bulldogs that are on the clock. '93, so not the best player, but you know, they're gonna need some good players. I mean, they're losing 2 of their best players. I can't believe it. Claire has not gone. I mean, it's very possible that everyone thinks she's terrible. That, you know, maybe she won't. Maybe she, if she somehow doesn't get selected in the first round, I don't even know what's going to happen. And she just got selected. Clara has been selected. It took her a really long time, but she got selected. Finally, she was supposed to be top 10. She ended up getting selected by the Bulldogs. And I think, honestly, she's now going to, that team, everyone is going to regret not taking her. This season. The Knights are now on the clock. They're all going to regret not taking her because she is huge. Absolute great player. I won't be surprised if she's going to be one of the number one picks, one of the best players. Even though she wasn't selected early, she should have been selected number top 5 at least. But she went to 22, so it's basically exactly. And who knows what's going to happen now, because they have made their selection, it appears. Arizes? I apologize for pronouncing the name wrong, if I did. The Knights have selected a pretty solid player going into this year. Pretty good pick, and the Legends are now on the clock. They're having to be the next one. Who knows what Legends are going to go for? Legends have been kind of a really good team. They've been a really good team for a long time. So who knows? Who they get. And they have selected Shirup? Can I get the name pronunciation? Shipra Graham. Ready to go round 1. Goes to the Legends. I keep spelling Legends wrong. Pretty good pick. It's not necessarily the best player that they could have gone for, I think, but maybe all their other picks that they had wanted to get were already gone. Maybe they wanted Clara, but Clara went. already. So, you know, 94 overall, not a bad player. Restarting the clock. It is the Superman. They're up next. Who knows what they're gonna go for? Cause well, they could use anybody pretty much. My apologies. I'm just verifying while we're waiting for their picks that all those players have been taken. Boxes we haven't been taken. I gotta make sure they're showing up. They'll show up at some point. That's good. Felix, let's see. And also, Felix has not been done. Okay, Felix is the Saints. Point guard. 99 rookie. Honestly, they have no new players. I don't know if the Saints decide, hey, we're just going to cut everybody from our team. But their newest player right now is Sean Rogers. So who knows? Richard. Also missing. Went to the 8th. They haven't selected, which is surprising, because, well, they have plenty of options. It's like, we're going to make sure we get the right player for us. But, you know, if they run out of time, it doesn't help. They've got, you know, mid-40 now, but okay, it's like mid-15 now. The clock that I'm watching the stream here, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit of it's about it's about a minute on my end. They're very select. I mean, honestly, they don't really have to have anything specific, but they don't want to, you know, get kicked. They got 30 seconds. Getting there. they just got their pick in. My goodness. They get Sarah Noble. I think it's Sarah, but I'm not sure. Goodness, they were lucky for that position. Warriors are on the clock. Now, man, I know you guys had plenty of time, but goodness, you want to make sure you don't get you lose your pick. I'm not sure they want to do that. They've got plenty of players for the Superman, but Serena was a really good player. I mean, honestly, I could have seen her go in the top 10 as well. But, you know, defensive players are not as sought for as offensive players are. I won't lose again. No clue who the Warriors are going to go for because you know, they need basically everything. Oh. They got like 2 minutes left. They gotta select someone, but they've got more time. They might have some reason to actually have a specific position. Good so far. They got 30 seconds, and pick is in. It is Chase. Yep, Chase Mount. Defense back, 91 overall, round 1 selection. She was supposed to go in round 2. But he went in round 1. which is, he's a 91, so he's not, the top player. Right. Next team that's currently on the clock is the Ravens. I have no idea who they're going to go for. Because they could go for anyone, pretty much. While Ravens didn't make the playoffs last year. They're definitely in position. They're in one of the tougher divisions, though, so it's not that tough. They have plenty of time. Yeah, I expected these to take about 2 hours, which is what we got right now. We have 12 picks remaining. And the Ravens have selected Timmy, point guard, also predicted to go in round 2. So actually surprised. Another one of those surprising ones we didn't really expect to go in round 1. There's another one that goes in round 1. So 2 players so far that have predicted to go in round 2 that are going in round 1. And some of these players that were predicted to go in round 1 are going to go really early. And now is the Otters, who are on the clock. They have arguably the cutest symbol. See if I can find it. And they have already chosen. They have chosen, which is surprising to me that they have chosen so quickly. Claren Claysel? Defensive back. They went for defensive, which is surprising because I honestly thought they were going to go offensive. 95 overall. Interesting pick. And the Techs are now on the clock. And they have already selected as well. They were like, yeah, let's look this over. Clay Jordan, predicted to go in round 1 as well as the Techs select Clay Jordan. Another surprise, another player we kind of thought was going to go at least in like late position. Defensive back. '92, so I mean, not unreasonable. But real one surprisingly, he is not good recovery, and that means be able to go and get the ball basically before it goes out of bounds. There's a weird test for that one. It is now the Bobcats that are on the clock. And they have also selected, man, why is everyone going so quickly? Does everyone have a date? I can see why. It is Clay Durrell. Predicted to also go around to defensive bag 94, so actually higher rated than a lot of other players. But I think it was the problem was the penalty. So that's the big thing that she had a lot of penalties, which probably dismayed a lot of players from taking her. But considering the Chargers were the most penalized team last season. I'll pause the clock for a second so we can get this thing up. The UNC, which is stands United National Cats, is now on the clock. United National Cats. Clock's going to be continuing. Yep. Also, it's kind of surprising because they're not a team that really needs a defensive player. They have a younger team. They're losing Piper, but Piper's another one of those players that's played for multiple teams. And she's played Piper Sillo. Played for the Panthers in her first 3 seasons. For 7 seasons, she got transferred to the Bobcats last season, and now she's going to be for season. Now she's in her second season for the Bulldogs. Who is UNC going to take? I couldn't tell you who UNC is going to take, to be honest. UNC is one of those teams that's going to be like, we don't particularly care who we get. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take every bit of their next 3 more minutes. And they have delayed their selection. Sorry, can you say it again, please? They have selected with their pick Jane Tezon. Also not a player expected to go in round 1. But UNC is in a position where they kind of don't have to have anything specific going into the season. They haven't been terrible, so they're not a team that's like, we have to have the best player this year. Maybe they're looking at having a season where they're just not going to be good. And then next season they will hopefully have an earlier draft pick, or maybe they'll trade for the draft pick for getting a mid pick. 91. So another player expected not to go in round 1, expected to go in round 2. We've got several more. One thing to note about the Panthers before they get to their pick. Let's see who's next. It is the Tigers who are on the clock now. And the Tigers have selected Terry Tolley. Wow. Tara Tolley. Point guard, 91 overall. Predicted to go in round 1. And honestly, when I looked at that, I was thinking, she's predicted to go in round 1? But she is one of the best recovery people. In the draft, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, she is. Well, she has one of the fastest player, and she has one of the best recoveries of this year. So that might be when it is. And the Tigers did have a really big problem last season, not really being able to get the ball back in their possessions. So yeah, it's not an unreasonable pick for them. And she is a point guard, which is something they kind of need. They also have a pretty young team. They're probably going to lose Grace as well. They've got a really young team. The one team they got is that Raphael Summerfield. And Michelle Manning. Both of those players were, injured for several of the games last season. Were they? I'd be wrong about that. But definitely the right pick for them. And it is the Hawks who are on the clock right now. And I will say some of the Hawks as they're going into their pick. Hawks tried their hardest to get the number 1 pick this last season. How many attempts do they have? 12 attempts at getting it. They're trying to get the number 1 pick from the Chargers. I believe they offered 2 first-round picks this year and next year, where their first-round pick was, which is this year. And their first-round pick next year, they offered all 3 of the first 3 picks this year. They offered a first pick 2 first picks for the next 2 years, and then there's like a 3rd pick this year. They tried their hardest, basically. And there were several other ones, but I don't want to go through all of them because there were a lot of things. And they have selected Helena Jordan predicted, by the way, to go in round 1. I don't know why. She does have a defensive rating, even for an offensive player. She was really good at scoring and had one of the best defensive positions. So yeah, I mean, cool. I'd say that's probably not an unreasonable pick for them to go for going this year. I couldn't say that was probably the best pick they could have gone for, but a lot of players needed. I would say it would probably be best for them to go to Alexandria, but of course they couldn't get her. So that's probably the best pick they could have gone for. Of people that were left. Oh, she's a point guard. Getting close to the end here. 5 picks left. The Lynx, the Pirates, the Stars, the Foxes, and the Leland Cats all have picks left. The Panthers don't have a pick in this round. So they won't have a pick until round 3. So you won't be seeing the Panthers anytime soon. The Lynx are now on the clock. They have to confirm, so that's why it takes a little bit of time. But that's what they're going for. I wouldn't be surprised. The Lynx, by the way, were the only team in the history of the NBL to beat the Panthers going into the Ball Bowl. 2 games. I think they did end up winning the ball. Did they win the Ball Bowl? They won the Ball Bowl. Yeah, I think the Lynx won the Ball Bowl. Yeah, they won the Ball Bowl with 11-5 record, which, by the way, was not great. The Man 23, they beat the Panthers, the only team, by the way, since 2016, to beat the Panthers in the Ball Bowl. I think there's only one other team that's ever done that. Never mind, I am wrong. No team has beaten the Panthers in the Ball Bowl before. There have been teams that have made it to the Ball Bowl before. Panthers have made it to 16 Ball Bowls. And went 15 now 15-1. They've made the playoffs in 17. So, which by the way is not the most, but time the teams make the playoffs. I'm curious to see what the Lynx go for. And the Lynx have selected. I have no clue who they're going to go for. Is that who? They chose a kind of weird player, 95 for Ford, but that's a Ford. Pretty surprising. They went for her. Not that they need anyone specific, because they have a pretty good team. They have a really young team, but a pretty good team. Wow. That is a Ford 95 overall. Not a bad player for them to go for. next player has been confirmed is the Stars, who have a really interesting logo. Couldn't tell you who the Stars are going to go for. Looking back at the Stars, I mean, Stars are a very new team. They've only been around. They lost the divisional rounds. They've made to the playoffs. In fact, I think 3 of the players that were in the made playoffs this last season. They have a pretty good record, so I don't know what they're going to go for. If they go for anybody. I mean, looking at the Stars, they're over here. They have a ridiculously young team. Like, really. So, they probably need someone who's got better experience, which is probably means that they're going to go with someone like John Ellis. Oh, John Ellis didn't make it into the draft. Oh, he's not old enough. I forgot to mention. So for anyone who's in the heads, all these players that are in here are at least 10 years old, or will be 11 years old before the draft. And here we go. Stars have selected. Okay, say that again. Oh, okay. Someone Way defensive back 90 will also predict to go around 2. So interesting pick for them. However, I will say he's probably going to be one of the best leaders they're ever going to have, because he is a really good leader. Not really necessarily the best player, but really is a good leader going into the next season. So I think that's probably a good pick for them. And it is now the Foxes. And we have one more player after this in the draft. This draft round will be round 1 will be over. These are going to get faster, I'm fairly sure, because they gotta get faster, right? And it appears that they have already made their picks. They were just waiting to use. They have the. They have chosen Russell Kezon. Point guard. Terrible selection for them. And I hate to say that for them, because when they were looking for their defense, they did not need defense. They were what were they? 6 in scoring, and like 2nd in defense. This is not the player they needed to take. Well, maybe that will be a good player. They don't have any experience, so I mean that doesn't matter. I mean 91 overall rookie, defensive back. He is a really fast player, so that's why I took him. And the Leland Cats are the last team on the clock in round 1. They got 5 minutes, and then that would be the end of round 1. Took us almost 2 hours to get through this. Is that correct? Yeah, it'll take us just over 2 hours to get through this draft. Well, Grimmage, it was basically what? Started at what? Can we start? Started 10 o'clock, so it was basically almost 2 hours. Who they're gonna select, I have no idea. I mean, all the really good players are gone. Abby Joey's still available, but she's But Abby Joey's not. It's probably honest. I would go for Abby Joey here because she's one of the best players left remaining in the draft, and I don't know how she had not been selected yet. Same thing with Hugo. I mean, Hugo would be a great pick to put in. Rick Simon would be great. There's so many players that were not selected. There were quite a few players that were put in round 2 though. And you got Iris Heroes. Got another good player. I mean, there's a whole lot of good players that were not selected. I don't know what it was. Lynn Jillian was not selected. You got the Storms. They're not going to get selected. They're going to get selected next round. There's no chance they don't. And they will probably end up being on 2 different teams. And it is the last pick. Hugo Carroll has been selected. Point guard, the Lily Cats have added on to their team a fairly good player. And that is the end of round 1 for the draft. I think, honestly, I am still shocked, though. There's so many good players. In round 2 tomorrow. Some of these teams are going to get some really good players. I mean, just going back into the end here, look back. I mean, look at all the players that are still available. I mean, Mary's Lane Lease was supposed to be in round 1. She didn't get picked in round 1. Ellis wasn't picked round 1. Could predict in round 1. Durham was picked. Who should she get picked by? The Hawks. Stephanie Matthews. Okay, that's not it. She was picked, wasn't she? No, she wasn't. I'm surprised she hasn't gone. There's so many good players, and that's the end of round 1. Round 2, there will be 1 additional minutes on the clock. I believe. Going into round 2. But all these players here are brilliant. I mean, obviously we never saw the Panthers because Panthers don't have a pick in the first round or the second round. Their first pick doesn't come. I'll check to see what they have. Their first pick is 114. And there are 40 picks in each round. So, as you see, 40, 80. Basically, they're not getting one until almost the end of the 3rd round. I'm going to say right now, it's going to be interesting to see who everyone selects tomorrow, but I'm shocked that some of these players are still available. I mean, honestly, we got Auntie Joe. There's so many players. Perhaps some players were wanting to get them, but this didn't pick them in the round. I mean, I would suspect that she goes for sure in round 2. And she's gotta go in round 2. Because that is the end of this, draft. I will see you guys tomorrow. Round. Sorry, it's 9:30. It should probably end around the new year starts. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. And round 1 is now closed.